does it look like to review and update a website page? We're going to talk about that today, and we're not only going to talk about it, I'm going to do a demo. Hey, I'm Appy from iCode Happy. I'm a website consultant, so I design, I build, I troubleshoot, I consult, I audit websites for small business owners. And my purpose is that small business owners like you would have a website that works for you and for your business. In this series of videos, we've been talking about, does your website work for you? Can you make it work harder for you? What are the business goals that you're trying to reach? What are the red flags that you can look for on your website that might be preventing it from doing its job, might be preventing people from finding what they're looking for on your website and hopefully working with you? So today I'm going to offer up my website. You get to see the cobbler's shoes. You get to see the things that I haven't put in place on my website and see what it looks like for me to review and find those things that can be improved on my website. And then I'll show you how to fix them. We're going to take a look at the About page. That's usually one of the most visited pages on a website, and I need some help. We're going to use the checklist that I will send next week to Your Website Buddy subscribers. Your Website Buddy is a full year subscription where you follow my audit process for your website and you get bite-sized pieces where I tell you what to review and update on your website every month for a year. By the end of the year, you have been all the way through your website. So next month is the About page, and we're going to take a look at my About page today and see what we can do to make it better. We're looking at my About page, and it's pretty basic. Hi, I'm Appy, what my mission is, my background, my story, a little bit about me and how I came to build this business and why I enjoy it, what my purpose is, and a little bit about me, and a link to my services page. On the right side here is the first step of the checklist for the About page. So one of the things we talked about in the past videos is making your website work harder for you. And these are some of the elements that can help your About page work a little bit harder. So let's look for these elements in my About page. Do I have at least one appropriate call to action or call to value on the page? You don't necessarily want a hard sell on this page, but I have just a basic check out my services page. It's low key, it's just a text link, but it allows people to go to the next step if they want to. So we'll consider this one checked off. The next one is stories and experience that shows a connection to your current business, your mission, your products, your offers. So one of the things that happens on an About page is things get a little bit out of date. So we'll make sure that things are current. The second part of that is that it's really easy on an About page to just tell our whole story and not just focus on the things that are relevant to our business and our offers. Everybody has different boundaries. I have a lot of boundaries about my family, so I'm really careful in what I say about my family, and that's evident on my website. I tell you that I started this business after I helped my mom recover from surgery, and that's it. And that's part of the story of the business, and that's why I tell you. And the rest of my family is something I'm not going to share about, and that's okay. So defining your boundaries and staying within those is just fine. One of the things that I talk about here is my background in engineering software development. That is something that I use in building websites. So it's something that I offer on this page, not just to talk about myself and my past, but to connect with people who are going to say, hey, you have some technical experience. That's something I'm interested in. It helps people to know what experience I have that's going to be useful to them. So we can check this one off. updated personal snippets. So that would be like my quirks, where I am trying to capture the perfect sunset photo and avoid the dishes. Those are still true. So I'll consider that updated. They're also within my boundaries, so I'm going to consider that a win. They're a point of connection for people who also relate to sunset, the outdoors, maybe taking photos. I'm definitely not anywhere near professional, but other people like to take pictures too. Not a big fan of doing the dishes. That might be something that you relate to too. Very small, intentional ways of sharing, again, within your boundaries that you want to set, and add a little bit of your personality. Letting people in is valuable, but be brief too. And the last one is a testimonial. That's something I have not added to my page. We can put this on our list as something to fix. All right, let's go to the next section, red flag review. So this comes from one of the previous videos, and we talked about making sure the journey that we're sending the customer on through our calls to action and directing them through the page is the one we want them to go on for them and also for us and for our process in our business. We want to make sure that the purpose of our page is supported by everything that's on the page, the copy, the calls to action, the photos and graphics, that they all support the purpose of the page and, in a larger way, the website and the business. We want to make sure that there's no visual red flags, things like long blocks of text, no headings, text that isn't readable because the background and the text is too close to the same color, inconsistent spacing where you have lots of space or where it's all crammed together, inconsistent brand elements. What if it doesn't fit the rest of the website? That wouldn't work either. Or if it doesn't fit the rest of your business. Those are all things to take a look at. And then the last item, do all the elements on the page work on mobile, including graphics and photos? Things don't get cropped in a strange way that shows up really weird on mobile. So let's take a look through here. So the call to action, does it reflect the current user journey that I intend people to go on? And the reality is it needs some updating because I have a services page, but I also have DIY tools for people who are going to do some of this work themselves. I know common website wisdom says one CTA at a time, don't confuse people. I get that. I also know that people need to self-select. And if people are looking, they'll go, that's not me, that's not me. Yes, that's me, I'll click that. So giving people some options that would fit for them, whether they want one-on-one or they want DIY or they want something that's lower commitment, making sure that people have the options that fit them where they are is also valid. So just be aware when you're adding calls to action. Don't be confusing, but also give people enough options. So we can put that on the list as something that I need to update. Does the updated content, make sure it's up to date, copy, calls to action, photos and graphics, does it support my purpose for the page? So the purpose for the About page is to help people trust me, whether they're interested in my experience or they're relating to me on my personality, or they like my story, they like what I offer. All of the content on this page needs to help people trust me. And if it's right for them, move to the next step of working with me. I have a brand photo that can help. I have stories and snippets about my personality. I have information about my experience, and I have a call to action that does need updated. But all of these elements are ones that do help people trust me. So we'll consider that marked off. And also consider that I can make tweaks if needed. No long blocks of text. I have spacing in here. I don't have big paragraphs. I have headings, my mission, my background. You want headings for people who are going to skim, and you want small amount of details for people who are going to go back and read those, formatted appropriately in short paragraphs. My background and text have enough contrast. I use this tool called Accessible Colors, accessible-colors.com. And if you put the hex code for your text and your background color, it can show you what your contrast ratio is for your content. And I highly recommend this to make sure that your text is readable, because I see an awful lot of text that is, I guess I'm getting old, but it's hard for me to read. Also notice the weight and the size can make a difference too. So that's something to consider. Spacing, I have pretty consistent spacing. Things aren't crowded. They're not way distant from each other. I have consistent brand elements. This header is like all the others on my website. The font is the same as all the others on my website. The brand photo is part of the same series of other brand photos on my website. And do all the elements on the page work on mobile, including graphics and photos. So let's squish this down to simulate mobile. And this is what it looks like. So you can see I do have the hamburger menu. You can see the header here. It's still readable. You can see the photo. You can still see the link and click that. So I would do this on an actual phone, but this is a little demo that shows you that yes, that does work. Step 3, basic SEO. So the next piece, while we're reviewing the page, do I have a page title, a page description, and alt text for images? I have a page title. I do not have a page description set for this page. So that's something that I will go in and fix. And I do have an alt text for this image in place. So that's good. Step 4. So the last thing we're going to talk about on this page is the business goal alignment. Are the topics on the page ones that fit your business? So my business is mostly technical. It's talking about websites. If I came to my about page and I started telling you all about my favorite chocolate chip cookies, and the topics and the keywords were all about chocolate chip cookies, then not only the people, but also the search engines could get really confused. So topics and keywords, let's make sure that they fit with the rest of the website and the business. What can I add or take out that would make the page better fit into building the long-term relationship? Does this page create engagement that leads people to explore my site? Are there things that I could add that would help them to take another step with me? Does the content on this page make them want to go read my blogs? Does it make them want to come watch this video? This is a lot. I have a list of helpful prompts that I used that you can put in your AI tool and have it help you understand what's going on your page and also recommend improvements. You can ask it what the page title and description are. You can ask it what the calls to action are. You can ask it about topics, takeaways, and keywords, and it will summarize that for you. You can ask it to recommend something specific, like improvements for SEO. You can also ask it for things that are a little more strategic, like what could I add to this page that would help me build a relationship with my audience better? How could this page better serve my audience in meeting the goal for this page or for my site, for my business? Here is an example of me developing these prompts. So this one is a little bit messy, but this is what I put into ChatGPT, and this is the result it gave me. So it's the page title and description, the keywords, the main topics and takeaways, what's the call to action, And we'll start with, here's the page title and description. It shows you that I don't have a meta description that I need to add. It gives you a list of keywords. So this gives you an idea that it gives you a little bit of a sense of what's going on this page. And that can be helpful. Here's another little snippet. Recommend improvements for SEO and for my goal of helping small business owners with their websites. So it starts with SEO. Again, it suggested title and description, and it goes on, and there's other recommendations down through the page. So that can be really useful and helpful, save you some staring at the blank screen. You definitely have to use some care when you use these tools. Not everything that it recommends is going to be accurate or useful. So be a little bit careful with that. Make sure that you only follow the recommendations that you know are useful to you, but it can help you get started. What does the final page look like? So here's the draft of my new About page. It talks about my experience, who this is for, how I got started, a little bit about my story, a little bit about my mom and her surgery and how that motivated me to start this business, how I got started in my first project, why I do this and what my experience is, what it looks like to work with me, added a testimonial, which I was missing, some things to know about me and my core values that might help you decide if I'm the right person for you, and then where to go next. And you can self-select. There's some low commitment things, watch a video, maybe this one, download my freebie, explore my services, book a time to talk to me, check out my DIY tools. There's some different things here that can help people wherever they are. And that's what I want. Well, I've got a new About page. I hope you got some insight about what it looks like to review and update your website and your web pages. And now you have a framework to evaluate anything else on your website. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again.